What's up? I'm Justin.
I'm Drew.
We are Watch Rome Burn, and we are here with Collin from Stravinsky Riots. Great band. We played a show with not too long ago, right? The Plaid Pig.
Yep.
And so Collin is here helping us with the setup on the drums. He's going to show us some cool new tricks that he's picked up. And yeah, so stick around and we'll show you what we got going.
But we actually have a legitimate, real locker as a mic locker. That's how you know that our studio is legit.
It's hooked up.
That was a gym locker for Boeing employees for several decades, so it's seen some good times.
It's seen a lot of stank, I bet.
Yeah, that's what I mean by good times.
Recognize this world, swing is undeniable. Looking up is all I am, but that's proven unreliable. So I'm invincible.
So what's the basics of, are we triangulating mics or like what? Educate me.
So these are overhead miking for getting mainly like the cymbals, and I guess we're gonna try to approximate toms with this setup too, because I don't think we're going to try miking the toms individually on this one.
Yeah, we're doing more like an ambient mic scheme, it's called, where you don't rely so much on miking everything individually and blending it together, as these mics are going to capture pretty much everything. You know,
it's a good like stereo, stereo, you know, 2 tracks.
Like what it would sound like if we were standing in the room, kind of, and then just augmenting that.
And then you guys were playing something for the kick drum too that was a little bit different.
Yeah, like miking it from both sides. So there'll be a mic really close to where the beater's hitting the head. So you'll get that plasticky attack, that click sound, but then there'll be another one on the front that gets more the tone of the drum.
Kind of mixed in with the tone of the room too. Like it'll get a bigger, more spacey sound than a close miking would give you more of the transient, more of the attack, and give you more pop.
Yeah, and then we'll have a third one like right about here, like an impact mic up front, where it's going to be like if you're sitting in front of a drum set on the ground and they're playing, it's like right into your face, and it'll be super aggressive and kind of garagey sounding, especially in this room.
I suppose we could try running it over this
the top.
Yeah, but I don't know, I feel like it does have enough room right here.
Yeah,
we could pick up both.
Let's give it a shot.
Right at ear drum level of drummer. Yeah.
You can record with the door closed?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So you gotta be doing a tiptoe. Studio tiptoe.
You wanted to try keeping them a little closer, right? Like maybe right by the ears?
Yeah, right over the shoulders to where he won't be hitting them when he's playing, but still pretty in there.
So how'd you learn to do all this, Collin? Like, is it just trial and error, or did you like do like formal schooling, or?
No schooling, just a lot of reading old threads. Gear sluts. Those threads. Central. Yeah, they talk. People go. They go on tirades online, so you get they go pretty in depth, and then working with Victor from the Riots, we've recorded in a lot of different practice space environments, and me and him like to go back and forth about what we're gonna do, and we end up experimenting a lot. So I've tried a lot of different ways, but I've kind of arrived on like one tone. Like I do one tone really well, and that's why it's kind of cool working with you guys, is to be like going outside of that a little bit, and you know, especially like Drew had he had like a reference recording, you know, Melvin's song that would be like a cool starting point, and doing it that way is it's gonna be new and really fun.
Yeah, I'll show
Stoked.
that to you too.
Yeah.
Night Coat by the Melvins. That's like, I heard that when I was 14, and that drum tone is the epitome of good drum tone to me. So at least for this style of music. So that's kind of what I like to base this recording's drum tone off of. Some Pike's Place.
Right.
That's how you acquire the skills.
On here, and then it's also on the mic cable, but sometimes it doesn't line up. So we have like, I would say like 3 or 4 millimeters off. And what always ends up happening is you end up lining the groove up and then jamming it in onto the prongs, and then they get bent up and broken by the mic connector, and that's a sad day. That's instant smoke break. Like when that happens, the studio session goes on smoke break. So it'll be right above where your snares are on the bottom. But since we're doing 2 mics, we're gonna have a lot more flexibility with that, because we won't be relying on one mic to capture, you know, the sound of the shell and the texture. We'll get to blend those two, which I'm pretty excited to do, since I don't do it very commonly. And we got the barn studio is always fully stocked, so.
Alright, so on this bottom one, the bottom snare mic, what's the philosophy, or what are we using? And
This is Audix i5, say, what do you call that, dynamic mic? Hypercardioid or something like that. And it's gonna capture, so this one's gonna capture the sound coming off the top of the head, the stick hitting it. Kind of the same philosophy as the using 2 on the kick. And, but this one is gonna catch a lot of the snare sound, that raspiness. So we could put more air, more of a poppier sound or a crackly sound, or just kind of control the texture, I guess, with this one.
I mean, you get more sizzle, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having the mic there alone is gonna get us.
Yeah.
I think we do want to get them as close aligned as possible.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just want to get them parallel. Right?
Yeah, so that we
Or
can, we
perpendicular.
don't have to worry about phase. We can just flip
Exactly.
it.
what's phase?
It's
like when the waves are coming out from either side of that drum, they're going to hit those they're going to hit those microphones at different points at their wave cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be, you know, like this, if the microphones are both here and the waves are coming out here, by the time the wave gets to that microphone, it's gonna fucking keep wanting to say microwave, dude. Yeah, I got ideas for other things in my head right now. But yeah, so when the wave gets over here, it might be at this point in the wave, you know, and then when it gets over here, it might be on the upswing of this wave. So you want to get them to be aligned, because
they can cancel each other out.
yeah. Yeah, it's just not a natural way to listen to it as well. Like the ear will hear it and it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like how you're hearing it in real life with your own ears, you know, in the room with it.
So from the listener, like the uneducated listener's perspective, it just sounds wrong? Is that kind of how
It sound dead, canceled out.
Yeah,
Because like
frequencies can be canceled out.
like you'll hit the snare head here, and like when you push down, the air is gonna suck this microphone capsule away from the microphone. And I don't know what it's called. But it's gonna suck the microphone capsule like towards this drum. Whereas this one on the bottom, the force coming at it is gonna force it into the housing. And so when that goes in the computer or whatever, it'll basically like cancel each other out, kind of, because of the electricity and
magic?
waves.
Is it
Yeah,
right?
That's the thing about phase too, and microphones is like you have to try to align microphones to mimic what you're hearing with just 2 ears in a natural, like that one microphone, the Sennheiser microphone is like, it's a mannequin head with microphones on the side, so it's meant to really duplicate the natural sound that you would hear. But as an engineer, it's like you're trying to make a kick microphone, a snare microphone, you know, overheads, guitar microphone, all of them sound like as if when you pop in a CD, you know, you're hearing it like in a space as a person with a stereo spectrum going on in 2 years listening to all of this stuff. You're supposed to like take it like that. That's a lot of engineers' end goal, I think. But yeah. I like to play with stuff, honestly. Like I like to mess with that kind of equation a little bit and make things not represent reality. You know, that's kind of the fun of mixing and modern technology and being creative with it. Like that's kind of my style with it. But you know, I don't always do that. Sometimes it's nice to try for realism. It's about as like it's comparing like abstract and realism in art. You know, that kind of thing.
These ones, for instance, we're putting close to your ears. Like these two mics that are getting the most of the kit. So in this sense, like these two are getting we're getting a good chunk of our sound from what would be, you know, perceived or, you know, close to what a human would perceive. But I mean, there's others, like the rest of it, like you said, is like mix and match. You know, you can play with that and like alter reality, I guess, in with all this stuff.
Wait, tell that story again. What happened?
Oh, Audix. Audix is a super good microphone company, but they're good guys because I dropped an Audix microphone in OM7 in the first week of getting it, and it was fucked up, it was broken, and I sent it to them, but I sent it back into Shure bag instead of its original bag, a Shure microphones bag. Some guy got it, was probably pissed off, and sent it back in an Audix bag for me. Just like, this motherfucker. Said it.
Get that out of here.
Undeniable. Looking up is all I am, but that's proven unreliable. So I'm invincible, barely connected. Oh, human ingenuity,
Using this old tube preamp on the snare drum top, just to, I don't know, warm it up. It essentially adds a little tiny bit of distortion, a little bit of tube distortion to it, so gives it a little bit of character.
These all-in-one interfaces kind of have preamps on them, but they're not always the best.
Yeah.
Like they kind of could use a little more.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you can really improve your sound by using another preamp in front of it to give it even more of a boost.
Give it some edge.
Yeah, because they're very affordable, very good, but you know, like I found over the years running something in front of it will get you like a more pro sound. So we're kind of talking about like using it on kind of the critical drum mics, the kick front and then the snare top, or we're gonna go for the highest quality of any of the microphones will be those two, and then the rest will be run straight in, and we'll just we'll just go from there.
All right, what we say?
This microphone is the CAD Equitech 1000S, I think it is. Yeah, E1000 or E100S, and it's a really cool microphone. They use it for like voiceover. Yeah, we're gonna try this. It's kind of like I want to say, like, you know, Jimmy Page and Bonham were big on the idea of distance miking kick drums and throwing like in this case a condenser out like 6 feet from the drum. Maybe we'll move it closer actually, and it'll kind of get the flavor of the room mixed with the impact of the drum or the weight of the drum coming off of it, and then we'll mix that in with the other two kick drum mics to give it some of the room's character.
A lot of room mics kind of lack kick drum. You lose that a lot. You get more higher end frequencies, and so this placement's kind of nice because you do get some of the space of the room, but also you don't lose your kick. It doesn't just fall out of the mix, which is when you're a drummer.
Right, that's important.
Yeah, you can't have that happening. We got one last mic to place.
Yep.
And that's gonna it's gonna get a lot of room sound, room echo. So I wonder if we can put it upstairs.
I tried it, honestly.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I think the best bet we have is over here, like pretty
On a
close
tall
to this
boom?
wall, I guess. Yeah, or maybe even in the. You just try moving it around, but I feel like just facing this wall, because this is where the majority of the reflections are coming from.
So wait, what's the point of this last mic? Is
Room mics are to get like a to capture this ether that's floating in the air. That's what room mics are for. They're to capture like whatever reverberations are coming off of the space that you're in from your source, from your sound source. You're just trying to get the whatever's reflected, so you get some of the decay or the sound of the room's reverb, the room's reverb's decay on your stuff. Kind of thickens things up. It gives them a little bit of the character of a natural, like it livens them up, I guess you could say. Some people say that it makes it sound more alive. It just sounds, you know, when you're miking a drum like close up, even the overheads, it kind of sounds like you're listening to it as like the drummer, like your head's up against the drum. But if you're listening to it in a room, you're also hearing the interaction with the room. So you want to capture that to kind of convey the accuracy of the drum sound.
Yeah, those mics will be pretty maxed out. The close mics, they're getting like fully saturated with sound, where this one will not be getting taxed so hard. So it'll have more. It'll just have a different character too, and you know, it'll be kind of like hearing it through a wall or maybe around the corner of the room, and you just like we said, like the two perspectives. Like your head, you're only getting it in one place, but you know, blending this in is kind of like part of that technique.
This is an Audio Technica large diaphragm condenser. It's like an AT2020 or something like that. This one was what I originally started out with and used in my studio for a long time for vocals, for drum condensers, for whatever. It was just my go-to. It's because it's pretty cheap, but it's efficient. It does a little bit of everything. Now I ended up getting a pair of Rote Nt1s, which I'm using as the drum condensers now and for vocals and stuff. But yeah, these are still good microphones, solid microphones.
Good general purpose mic.
And on a good budget, you know.
Yeah, very budget friendly. That's the number one most important thing. Yeah. Sound quality is second. Budget, low budget is first.
What's going on? A lot of this stuff to just magic.
Yeah, it's kind of the microphone.
You run electricity through these materials, these metals, and then it just sounds better for some reason. Like why exactly? I don't know.